Star Wars Andor, Episode 8, Who Are You, broke me. I've never felt such feelings after watching any work of fiction. I'm John Berry 555, this is the Jedi Ranger, and we need to talk about that episode. This episode had something to say. It put us in the Gorman massacre. It didn't tell us about it, it put us in it. The closest I've ever felt to what I felt after this is when I watch history stuff, especially recreations of historic events, including tragedies. Band of Brothers, Why We Fight, is one of those examples. But with history, it's in the past. There's a sense of fait accompli about it. It's done. There's nothing you can do. You can only reflect on and learn from it. You can feel saddened by it. You can feel sorrow about it. But you don't often feel in it. And that's something I think a lot of people who do documentaries and that, and even historical dramatization, sometimes forget. They forget how to put you, the audience, in the event for feeling. Now, granted, documentaries are often trying to be objective, so they hope the events speak for themselves. But historical dramas, on the other hand, they're set in the past. They're set during a historical event, and they're supposed to get you to feel something. They're supposed to be a dramatization. They are supposed to take more artistic license in a documentary. But Tony Gilroy and the rest of the creative team behind Star Wars Andor did that for a piece of fiction. They put you in a piece of fiction the way I feel like a lot of historical dramatizations fail to do. Perhaps it's because, especially first time, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what characters are going to make it out alive or not. And they worked that into the story. They made you feel like you were there on Gorman with Cassian, with Cyril, with Wilman, with all the members of the Gorman Front. They made you feel there. They made you care about the characters. And it is so much better for that. Don't know if I'll ever be able to rewatch the episode, but they did such a superb job in the episode. They showed the Empire inciting a rebellion, inciting a riot to justify a crackdown, to justify oppression. But as we know from Felix, as we know from Rebels, they will lose control of that situation. Tyrants, whenever they try to incite an instinct to justify oppression, will lose control of the situation. Tyrants, respect the rule of law, respect constitutional order. That is how you truly stay in power, by not provoking the people. That is a very radical message to say, but that is the message that Star Wars Andor, Who Are You, are giving to us. Plus, they made me care about Cyril's mother, actually feel sympathy for her. How? It showed us she does love her son in an overbearing way, but deep down, and same thing with Dedra. She's, I think, actually grown fond of Cyril, and losing Cyril in the riot, I think will affect her. Now, will she double down? Is a different story. We gotta see that all in the next episode, but this episode had something to say. It made us feel something, and it accomplished that goal. There's more I can talk about. I could talk about each individual character, how stuff, but the parallel to Felix is spot on. The people gather to the memorial, even though it's a trap. People recognized it was a trap, but they still did it anyhow because, yes, it may have been the tactically maybe not sound thing, but it was probably the morally right thing to take the stand in that moment. And as we know from other stories, this incident helped spark and galvanize the rebellion against the Empire and against Imperial tyranny as a whole. From an internal universe story, that stuff works perfectly. It feeds into it. You got the Gormans also trying to relay their message, what actually happened out to the world, so that way the Empire is not dictating the narrative. We know Mon Mothma will take a stand. She'll probably rely on those transmissions from Gorman. I had hoped Cassian would capture Cyril because there was a moment where Cyril was like overwhelmed and you might think like, he's saying, this is not what I stood up for. But seeing Cassian in the crowd, that brought him back to square one. He once again became that primo Milana cop who was trying to capture a thief, a person, a murderer. He went back to square one. Any potential chance he had at redemption was gone. He regressed back to who he was way back in episode 1. And that's why Cyril has always been an antagonist, always been a villain. Villains and antagonists generally do not learn. They generally do not grow. They often will double down. They often will reject character growth. I'm interested in seeing how this event will change Dedra, because she's clearly overwhelmed by this. She had grown fond of Cyril despite the fact I'm pretty sure the relationship began as manipulation, had very toxic on both sides. But it was kind of like they were toxic to each other, and somehow that made it healthy for themselves and was starting to bring out the better part in each other. But Cyril regressed. Will Dedra regress? She's set up as a villain. Will she have an Agent Cassian moment? I don't know. Remember, we got Lonnie too, who's we didn't see him at all in this episode because he's back on Coruscant being Lucian's spy, I'm sure. He might see Dedra is now struggling and start poking at her, trying to, either get her to slip up with something or even defect. I could see that. There's a lot of interesting stuff because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. This episode has a lot of interesting stuff that can go forward, but the most important thing is it showed us the Gorman Massacre. It made us in the audience feel something. And that, I think, was deliberate. We saw the inciting incident that we needed from the big Mon Mothma moment coming in the next episode, and it made us, the audience, feel something and hopefully take something away from it. That's what I got to say. What do you have to say? The comment section is down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.